Times call for difficult measures, that we've often said here on the show, particularly when you're a former cable TV actress called Meghan Markle. You were, of course, part of one of the world's most famous families. You ditched them, trashed them, and now you're basically trying to reinvent yourself as a podcaster. But is it all going to plan? As ever, let me explain. Hi, good morning, Neil Sean here in the very heart of London. Nice to have your company. As I've said to you before, it's difficult, isn't it, when you try to go down a brand new career. It doesn't always necessarily work out the way that you wish. Of course, it doesn't always work out, does it, as we saw recently. Meghan was, of course, dumped from her Pearl Emanation series via Netflix, even though they'd harped on about this being a mega deal, a wonderful thing. Everybody was going to enjoy it, if you remember. And it was going to be executive produced by Elton John's squeeze, David Furnish. And then, of course, it all went wrong. They publicly dumped it. She decided to hook a bandwagon now up to a Spotify podcast. But of course, you know, as we told you also here on the show, those little scripted moments of Prince Harry suddenly popping in during those little informal chats were all down. There was nothing left to chance. Simple as that. A mother calling her up, you know, definitely all planned, as we've seen. The fact that seemingly she doesn't necessarily interact with many of her guests tells you everything you want to know about how interested Meghan is in her own podcast. And if she's not interested, why should we be? And that's the reason possibly why it's going down the pan in the podcasting charts. But it was this particular picture that people really have not picked up on the fact. And this is really pivotal moving forward to Meghan's success on how she will be perceived going forward if they decide to go with a second series of her archetypes. And as ever, let me explain. Here you see, a recent guest, Amanda Gorman, a very talented young lady, poet, who was very nicely asked to be part of the podcast chat. She must have been incredibly thrilled, although she's achieved much in her own lifetime herself. What I like about this is she looks absolutely thrilled and delighted to be pictured with the former royals known as the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. But do you understand now the bigger picture? It's not just with Meghan, is it? That's the point. You understand? It's not Meghan's podcast. She had to bring in the former royal known as Prince Harry. He's the cachet that would make the picture sell, which, by the way, was given away to all news media outlets for free, thus ensuring that people pick up something free, particularly in these very difficult times for newspapers as they're running out of money. So you get the picture. Without Prince Harry, who's popped up already once, I think twice now, on the podcast, then there's really no interest in Meghan as a standalone product. And that must really hurt her. But more importantly, has Harry woken up to this yet? Neil Sean in the very heart of London.